What is up, guys? This is Xavier here, the owner of the Experience podcast, produced by the Third Eye Society. So, this is the start of Consciousness Expanded. This Instagram is going to be strictly for neuroscience, for expanding consciousness, and also just diving into, I guess you could say, philosophical ways of looking at things differently, looking at how we process things, our mindsets, and definitely trying to look at things in a way to become better people, become better versions of ourselves at the end of the day. So today I'm going to be talking about something that I've stumbled upon recently in the past couple months through my research, and that is Socrates' good and evil philosophy. So let's get right into that. It's very interesting. So I hope you guys can take what I've taken from it and apply it in your own lives. So let's dive right in. And so with this philosophical way of looking at good and evil, how do we know what is good? How do we know what is evil? Now, what Socrates believed is that there is no real evil besides the ignorance part of, communication, actions, decisions. It can be put into a lot of, if not all, aspects of life. Now, true evil is ignorance. Now, how I break that down is, if we have a goal, if we have anything that we want to obtain, whether it be wealth, getting a promotion at a job, whatever the case is, we have that goal, that focus, which sometimes could be a very positive thing. No one, looks down upon people with ambition. But what is ambition? Ambition is a goal-oriented mindset to try and become better, which is awesome. But in the steps to achieving that goal, who are we stepping on? Who are we not thinking of? And who are being affected? Who is it truly affecting that we are ignorant of? Now, when it comes to executing, the small steps, the small actions into obtaining that goal, there could be many things that are overlooked. Now, when we are truly involuntarily evil is when we're not thinking about how our actions are affecting others. It's not really a malicious thing. It's not really something that we're trying to do. It is something that is involuntary that we're not aware of. So in neuroscience, they call this meta-awareness, when we are actually aware of our emotions, aware of other people's emotions. Now, this is emotional intelligence. This is when you can actually make decisions and basically look at other people and your own emotions and act accordingly. Now, what I'm going to get into is we've talked about true evil. So true evil is ignorance. So and go ahead and think upon this, ponder on this. Is true evil ignorance? And honestly, at the end of the day, this can be applied to almost anything. Now, just to give an example, I'm pretty sure anyone in their life has been at a point to where they want to achieve something, and they'll do anything to obtain that goal or to get in the position that they need to with good intentions. But at the same time, there are things that are done that are affecting other people that we just have no idea it's affecting. But when we have the meta-awareness, would we make that decision again? These are things we have to ask ourselves. These are things that we have to have awareness about, emotional awareness, and basically act accordingly. Now we're going to get into virtue, which is true goodness. Let's get right into that. So now we're getting into virtue. What is virtue? Now, there's virtual theory. Now, let me read the definition of that. So, virtual theory is an ethical theory that emphasizes an individual's character, rather than following a set of rules. So you look at someone's character rather than a guideline of how I should judge someone's character or judge someone in general. Now, virtue, in my opinion, and this was also following along with Socrates, is balance. Virtue is in the middle. Now, you have vices, which are excess and deficiency. So when you are virtuous, you find that common ground within anything, honestly. Now, a couple of examples is one of the main ones is courage. So you can be irrational and have good intentions and make a decision that is courageous, but at the same time irrational and reckless. Or you cannot take action and be a coward in the situation. So cowardice is the opposite of courage, but at the same time, recklessness is overly courageous. So when we are in the middle, that is being truly courageous, then we find virtue within courage. So I want you guys to try and make sense of this and try to see if it can be implemented. Because to be virtuous is truly to have balance, which I feel is way more important than right and wrong. Balance is balance. I don't know how else to explain that without getting very, very philosophical and almost biased, but everyone wants balance. Everyone wants a middle ground. Everyone wants a common ground. And I feel like to obtain virtue is just the journey of obtaining it. And this is what I'm going to get into right now, is that virtue is a skill. So virtue, it's something that you try to obtain. It's a habitual process. So little habits of virtuous acts will over time have you becoming a more virtuous person. It doesn't happen overnight. Being a good person is not something that there's an end or an outcome. It's a constant journey of trying to be the best person that you can be. And that's all we can ask of ourselves, is to be good people and to do the best that we can. So I said that it's habitual. Now, how do you go about being virtuous or trying to learn how to be virtuous? Now, this can get a little tricky. To be virtuous, you have to see how it's done. So to learn, you have to see others being virtuous, try to implement it in your own life, and then that's the doing. So you have the learning, seeing other people be virtuous, courageous, having self-control, having the balance, and then trying to implement it in your own life, and that's the doing. So habitual, which is the habit, and that goes along with the doing. And then the learning is watching others being virtuous. Then you have, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, eudaimonia, which is life of striving, never done improving, be the best person that you can be. So this is going along with Socrates' philosophy is, it's not an end journey. It's not an end. It's a constant journey. It's not an outcome that you're trying to reach. It is a constant process. It's a marathon that never ends of trying to be a better person. So, just to reiterate everything, is there true evil and is there true good? I feel like evil most of the time is involuntary, but when you have a repetitive evil or repetitive ignorance, then does it become true evil? If you're ignorant and you refuse to see any other reasoning ability or rationality, if you don't want to see any kind of rationality and only your own, that's becoming irrational. So that is becoming ignorant to a certain extent. And then that comes down to, are you being actually evil and are you choosing to be ignorant, which can be evil? To be good is a constant journey. And it's little acts that are habitual, and learning from others who are virtuous and who are trying to obtain the same is being the best person that you can be. So this is all introspective. This is all, a message that we can take and ask ourselves questions on a daily basis to try and see if we are on the road to being virtuous, and not basing it on right and wrong, but basing it on how can I try to obtain this virtuous self, and what acts, what small feats do I need to achieve or learn to be a virtuous person. So that's it for this little episode. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you for tuning in. This is Consciousness Expanded, Xavier. Tune into the episode on the Experience podcast coming out. Me, my friend Tyler, and Aaron, we're going to be talking about 5G. This is part 2 of the last episode that I uploaded. So thank you guys for always listening, and I'll see you in the next one.